Greetings, demons, and welcome to Warhammer Weekly, episode 83, and we have a decent amount of stuff to be going over, so I'm not going to waste any time. Let's jump straight into it and talk about all the topics.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
So, to start off, it is that time of year again where we have the reveal of the festive miniature for 2024, and it is once again a red Gobbo, and this time it's pretty interesting. It's actually a red Gobbo with A-Bomb-inable snowman, and yeah, there's actually multiple configurations of this, which are pretty interesting. Essentially, it's red Gobbo with a, I guess an elf, and he has a little snowman that can be a bomb as well, which I think is pretty interesting. The actual model as a whole is pretty nice. He's holding a grenade, there's like piles of snowballs, which also actually appear to be grenades. I didn't notice that initially. There's a little alarm clock, which I assume is a ticking timer for the Abominable Snowman bomb. And yeah, overall, it's just a very nice, something a little bit different, I feel. Obviously, we've had Red Gobbo on Bouncer. We've had the one where he's on the chimney. I'm trying to think of all the different ones we've had over the years. We also had the like Krampus equivalent. I think that was that last year? Was that the year before? I can't remember. But yeah, we've had a lot of different red Gobbo variants, and this is a very cool one. As I say, the fact that you can have it be either, you know, a full-on snowman or have it be, you know, a partial snowman very clearly showing the bomb inside, very, very cool to me. I really do like that. And overall, just a very nice commemorative miniature. Just looks really cool. And I love Red Gobbo. I've made it very clear in previous years. I'm a fan of that design. I'm a fan of that character. And yeah, it's good to see that they're still making variations of him that are pretty unique. Because, you know, at this point you'd expect they've kind of run out of ideas for, you know, a Gobbo that's wearing Santa clothing. But no, like they've still got more ideas, which is great to see. But yeah, there we go. That is the Red Gobbo and A-Bomb-inable snowman, which looks real, real cool. Moving over into some proper 40k, we do have a pretty interesting reveal. Something for Eldar, interesting enough, with a new Phoenix Lord, Fugan. And yeah, this is a named character, obviously. I'm not familiar with much Eldari lore, so, you know, apologies that I don't actually know this character. But he does look very, very interesting. Very long blaster, or I can't remember the Eldar weapons. I'm sorry, Eldar is one thing that I really just don't have knowledge of, so I apologize that I don't really know anything. But yeah, very, very long gun. He has like an axe in his hand, which is pretty interesting. It looks pretty, I don't know, it almost looks kind of AOS-y. It has like a mystical aspect to it. It's very interesting design. A little bit of flame on his base, which appears to actually be a Space Marine helmet, which it's hard to tell, but it kind of looks more like it's a Chaos Space Marine helmet than a Imperial Space Marine. I could be wrong there, but it just kind of looked like it has horns. It's kind of hard to tell, to be honest, but yeah, this guy looks excellent. He's got a little banner with a dragon on it. I'm sure all these symbols and stuff have, you know, some importance to Eldar players, but yeah, I don't really know much about it. But yeah, his helmet's pretty interesting with the big horns or spikes or whatever you want to call them, the big antlers coming off it, and yeah, in general, really cool to see more Phoenix Lords, because, you know, we have had the, what squad was it that we had recently revisited as a kill team? I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, we have had some recent upgrades to the Eldar line, and it's good to see that Eldari are actually getting support again, because, you know, some of their units are, like going on 20, if not even 30 in some cases, years old. So it's good to see that a lot of stuff is getting updated or just getting brand new models in general for them. And yeah, for Eldar, it looks pretty good. I do quite like it, but yeah, as I've made pretty clear, not an Elves fan in general. So yeah, still pretty cool. But yeah, that's Fugan, the Phoenix Lord. And taking a flight over to Necromunda, we do have a new bit of news for Ironhead Squat prospectors. And it is an upgrade sprue. This is essentially to give the final few weapons that the plastic kit needs to actually be able to, you know, run everything with models that are accurate to the situation. So, yeah, it looks pretty interesting. There's a few different helmet and head options, which is always nice. The weapon variety is interesting. We have, like a flamer shotgun and, like, a plasma shotgun and, like, different pistols, some little throwing axes looking sort of weapons, like a drill gun. looks pretty interesting. Just a lot of cool stuff going on here, along with a bunch of different attachments and stuff like that. I do quite like the axe and I guess it's a pickaxe variations of like, I don't even know if they're supposed to be the caps of like regular melee weapons or if they're supposed to be attached to certain actual ranged weapons or something. But yeah, still very, very cool. And yeah, it's nice to see some upgrade sprues. Like, obviously stuff like this as well can very easily, not everything, but a lot of it can actually be used for Votann as well. If you're just wanting to vary up your characters a little bit. Like, a lot of these parts do fit the aesthetic overall. I've made it very clear that my Votann, as it exists, is mostly actually made up of Ironhead models. Because I just think they look far better, in my opinion, than the actual Votann. Everything is on a technicality legal because I use the Votann weapons on the models from Ironhead, but yeah, it's really nice actually getting all the different stuff here, and yeah, it's great to see more upgrade sprues for any faction, but especially one that I'm interested in. I always do quite like seeing a little bit of variety there, and yeah, I'm probably going to end up picking up another one of these alongside another box of the actual Ironhead squats, just because I already have an entire box built of them. With their, like, I guess, default equipment. So it'd be nice to actually have a full set that have the upgraded equipment, the varied equipment, so just so I can have a little bit of variety in my Necromunda games, and also, you know, when I play them in Votann in 40k. But, yeah, pretty cool, pretty nice, and yeah, that's all I can really say about it. And that brings us over to AOS, where we actually have something a little bit different, and that is because Warhammer Heroes is doing a Stormcast line. I don't know if they've ever done this before, because Stormcast Heroes, Warhammer Heroes, typically, to my knowledge at least, has always been Space Marines, whether that be Imperial or Chaos. There's been a little bit of variety. We've had, what are they even called? They've had the Nurgle Marines. What are they actually called? Death Marines? No, that's not right. Death Guard. We've had Death Guard, we've had Blood Angels, I'm pretty sure we've had at least 2 that have been regular Ultramarines, but yeah, in any case, it's usually something that's far more based around 40k, but this time around, we actually have a Stormcast for it, and yeah, the variety of models is really nice. Even as someone who isn't overly, interested in Stormcast, these look great. They all have really nice sculpts, nice variety of weapons as well. I'm assuming this is probably a workable warband, because in the past, all the Warhammer Hero boxes have been working kill teams, like actual legal kill teams, so I'm assuming it's the same case here. But yeah, these look great. I love the variety here. And yeah, if you're a Stormcast fan, if you're just wanting like a character just to introduce, just to have a more unique looking model, like picking up one of these is probably a great idea. I'm probably going to, if I end up seeing them at least, because my local Warhammer store doesn't typically have them in huge stock, but yeah, if I end up managing to get 1 or 2 of these, I'd love to just be able to, paint them up. I've made no small secret that, I am a fan of painting Stormcast. I'm just not really someone who cares too much about them as a whole. So it's like, I would never build an army. That's something that my partner does anyway, so I would have no need. But yeah, when it comes to painting them, I love getting a one-off Stormcast and just, painting it up. I love the gold armor and stuff. And I believe, based off what I've seen, though it's not shown in any of the pictures, all of them do have a helmet option. So I believe every single miniature has both a helmet and helmetless option included on the sprue, which is pretty nice. It's good to see that. And yeah, for me, obviously that just means I'm going to put a helmet on all of them, but yeah, still good to have options, and I'm sure Stormcast players that actually like the helmetless look are going to be very happy, and people that like me that don't like it are going to be happy as well. So yeah, there we go. That is Warhammer Heroes Stormcast Eternals. So moving down into the underworlds, we have 2 new warbands. The first of which is the Jaws of Itzel, which is a Saurus warband, and this one looks pretty interesting. I quite like, and I know it's purely in the paints, but the fact that this Saurus warrior is white rather than the typical blue or green that you see is really interesting to me. But yeah, all of these guys look pretty good. Obviously, they're the newest design for Saurus warriors. You also get a nice little menagerie of snakes and lizards with like a little Aztec style, or I'm sure it's one of the AOS gods. But yeah, very nice little I don't even know what use it would have, but to me it looks like a terrain piece, honestly. But yeah, these guys look great. I do actually have a number of Saurus. Like, Seraphon isn't something that I'm, massively interested in, but I have one of the existing warbands and one of the, what is the other term for the small teams called in AOS? I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I have a few different Saurus things along with some more generic Seraphon. So yeah, this is definitely something I'm interested in, and yeah, it looks pretty good overall, the Jaws of Itzel. And then facing off against them, we have some Nurgle with Grandfather's Gardeners. And yeah, these guys look horrific. Yeah, I don't really know what there is to say. There's a little Nurgling on the main guy. He has like a pot in his stomach, which is horrific. They're covered in little maggots as well, which is, or in some cases, pretty big maggots actually. But yeah, there's some really interesting models. You actually get quite a few models by comparison with the Seraphon units. The variety is way greater, I'd say. But yeah, the Nurgle units, of course, they're really gross. You also get a mosquito creature. I don't know what they're called in the Nurgle army, but yeah, they're horrific looking creatures. And yeah, if you're a fan of Nurgle, if you're a fan of Chaos in general, even this is pretty good. I'm sure these are going to have rules in 40k in the future as well, because most of the Chaos Demon stuff does eventually come over. But yeah, looks pretty good overall in its gross, disgusting way. And that is what we actually have for these two. So there we have what are they actually called? The Jaws of Itzel and Grandfather's Gardeners. And yeah, they look pretty cool to me. Look pretty neat. And yeah, I'll definitely, depending on how it's released, if these are released as separate warbands, I'll definitely be getting the Jaws of Itzel, just because I like painting my Saurus warriors. But yeah, the Grandfather's Gardeners, I have a few friends that are Nurgle fans. I think they'll be picking those up pretty quickly. And that leaves us with the Blood Bowl reveal for the week, because obviously we get a new thing for Blood Bowl every week now. And this time around, it's the living legend Jeremiah Cool returning to Blood Bowl. And yeah, he's an elf. That's all I can really say. He's a dark elf. I don't know what they're actually called in old school Warhammer Fantasy, but yeah, he's a guy that looks kind of interesting. I don't know. He's a barely clothed, purple armored elf. I don't really have much to say about it. He's one of the more boring of the Blood Bowl models that we've had recently. He doesn't have anything too distinctive. He's just running, wearing a bit of armor. Doesn't have any weapons. Doesn't have a ball in his hand or anything. He's just kind of, he's just kind of existing. He's just having a run. But yeah, not the most interesting by any means. But I'm sure with him being a returning character, I'm sure people that are, previously a fan of Jeremiah Cool are going to be enjoying having him back in their collection with an updated model. But yeah, I can't really say too much else about him. He's a pretty standard, Blood Bowl running guy. So yeah, in any case, that is all I can say about that one. And that brings us to the Rumour Engine for the 22nd of October 2024. And honestly, this could be many different things. My initial reaction to this one was that it could actually be the top of some sort of bludgeoning device, something that maybe Seraphon would have. The more I look at it, the more I realise it's probably actually some sort of rocket launcher or some sort of maybe even it might be a magazine for a gun, honestly, because the more I look at it, the spikes do look more like bullets or rockets or something like that than part of the actual overall structure. But yeah, definitely some sort of weapon, very interesting. But I'm not really sure what exactly it's supposed to be. It could really go anywhere. If it is more of like a bludgeon, if it's more of like a solid thing, I would definitely lean towards something like Seraphon, honestly. Kind of looks like that to me. But if it is supposed to be some sort of artillery, I'm not actually too sure where to go with that. It looks Imperial, I guess, but I'm not really too sure. It's one of those where, I can't identify anything that's too distinctive. This could easily be attached to various different vehicles. I could even see this potentially being something orky, as clean as it may be. It is something that could fit very nicely onto some sort of, orc war machine or something. Just as much as, an Imperial war machine, a Chaos war machine, various different things. I don't think this is Xenos. If it is 40k, I don't think it is Xenos, but yeah, I'm definitely thinking either it's, some sort of melee thing, and it's for, like, Seraphon in AOS, or it's going to be some sort of artillery, and it's most likely Imperial, but it could be any number of things, really. But, yeah, that's all I can really say about it. So, on that note, that is going to be it for this episode. So, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe to the and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Otherwise, comment below thoughts and feelings about any of the topics we covered today. Do you like the new Red Gobbo? I'm very happy with that one. I've been holding out for a while on Red Gobbos. I actually do have the Red Gobbo on Bouncer. I still haven't painted it, but I do have that one, and I've been skipping the last few just because I was like, none of them really jumped at me as something that I needed. But yeah, I love the look of this one, and it's much more of a display piece, something that I could actually bring out at Christmas and just like kind of, I don't know, put on the hearth or whatever. Just something pretty neat to me. But yeah, in any case, come here from me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but we'll survive. I just wanna take